The Day I Became a God has been one of my more anticipated anime walking into the fall 2020 anime season. When you see PA Works and the original tag next to it, I get excited more so than any studio's original. They hit what I look for in anime, and while you do look at shows that they've worked on in the past, and a majority of the originals, they tend to have a mixed reception, some really loving it and some feeling like the pacing and the conclusion was rushed to get there. And you may look at another PA Works original from the creator who's brought us Angel Beats, Charlotte, and a lot of other, I'd say at the very least, good shows, but there's always room for improvement. The Day I Became a God, I think, has one of the stronger chances of sticking its landing. It had an amazing premiere episode, and honestly, 12 episodes for the idea of the world's gonna end in 30 days, and we have this little girl proclaiming herself to be a god, and you kind of just want to laugh at her and be like, okay, little girl, let's take you home. But every step of the way of getting her there, her predictions come true. And while it's not the most crazy of things, you start off with her saying, hey, I'm going to go buy this umbrella. Well, actually, Yota, you're going to buy this umbrella for me. It's sunny day, it starts raining. Oh, don't take the bus, it's going to get there a lot slower than if we walk. How does that make sense? Well, just so happens the bus gets stopped in traffic. Okay, what about baseball? I want to impress the girl I like by playing baseball. All of her pitches for the most part were right, but then the one that wasn't, she blames on bad luck. Okay, well, it's anime. Of course she's actually going to be some sort of god, but from his point of view, there's no way. And it's like, tell your mom that you're going to bring me home. And the mom asks, what's she wearing? And then says, bring her home. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Is this like a long-lost sibling, or is she actually a god? Has there been like a church of some sort saying, hey, someday your son's gonna call you about a weird girl? Tell him to bring him home because she's gonna either save or destroy the world. It's such an intriguing premise, and the fact that they gave it such a short time frame, literally a month of their summer, is going to probably have some of the wildest events ever. And honestly, the banter between this girl Hina as well as Yota is amazing. It's fun. It's some of the most entertaining banter I've seen in 2020. I love it. She's not annoying. She's not someone you want to toss out the window for being this like obnoxious brat. She's honestly hilarious, and I love the banter between these two because honestly, our main character Yota seems like a very good guy at the end of the day. He's not that very arrogant protagonist who feels like he's on top of the world, or he's this like low of low with no self-confidence. He's just an average teenager who excels at basketball. Just so happens his crush is someone who likes baseball. It's just some cute banter, and the idea of it going to apparently have the world end because humans just suck and 30 days from now it's gonna all end. What's the point of her attaching herself to this man, especially considering how she thinks he's an idiot at the end of the day? I just think there's a lot of room to tell a very nice, concise story without it feeling like we're rushing to a plot. Is there potential for them to do so, like some of their previous events, like Angel Beats, Charlotte? You can look at those shows, and everyone who can agree the idea was there, but it needed two cores. This time, I don't feel like the idea needs two cores. I always approach these shows hoping for more episodes, but based on the episode that they gave us and the way the pacing was structured, it almost feels to me that we're probably going to have like 2 to 3 more episodes that are going to be fairly tame, and then things are going to start hitting the fan more and more, while there is a good chance that the final few episodes could feel like we're rushing to get to an objective. You can look at Charlotte as an example. The final couple of episodes are a season's worth of content in itself, so there is potential. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who either maybe have never even seen those prior works, they're just going to watch this first episode, think it's amazing, and really excited for more. But I think a majority of people watching are going to be very cautious, but probably cautiously optimistic, because even though these shows have a mixed reception, there is a general consensus, I feel like, where people are like, honestly, we want to keep giving them more of a shot. And I know I'm in the minority for just pretty much unanimously loving all of their shows. Even though I recognize the faults, to me, they're so entertaining. They have this like charm that PA Works just really does well to make the character banter feel so wholesome, so interesting, and honestly so dramatic. Even though there wasn't much of it, you can look at this episode, there was a couple of very dramatic shots, and I love how they really emphasize how dark it could get down the line despite it being very poppy and colorful. I'm just really excited for this one. Like I said, the character banter I thought was hilarious. I love the way they went so anime with so many times where she would freak out. The intro to their introduction is amazing. You just casually bump into them and she's like, I'm God, and she's talking all medieval like with that medieval speak, and every step of the way our boy's just trying to bait out where she actually lives, because from his point of view it's just a deranged child. And she's like, oh yeah, where would you go, Odin? Where is, Asgard? Just kind of baiting it out, and she starts giving directions like, oh yeah, you take this bus, and then she would freak out. It was really great to have that very simplistic comedy because it worked quite well. It looked like a big brother and his little sister, and the little sister was cosplaying earlier than anticipated. And it was just really great to see that. And even though whenever you read a premise like this, or you start seeing things in this, like, you know, a girl saying she's God, and even though logically she couldn't be, we're watching anime, of course that's actually going to come true. It was nice to see how rather than it being super, like, insane, like, oh my god, this girl's going to get hit by a car, go save her. Rather, it's just basic things that could be coincidence, but when you get to the point where they're having ramen and she's thinking it's the most delicious thing ever, and don't get me wrong, ramen's delicious, but she's acting like it's a 5-star meal right now, she casually gives the exact result for horse racing. And to the point where if this owner would have bet on every single horse in the exact order, he could have been very, very rich, and as he says, we could use her to be billionaires. And our boy's a little too noble for that, I feel like, because honestly, if the world's gonna end in 30 days, you might as well get rich and do whatever the hell you want to in those 30 days, but I mean, I guess that's a different anime premise, I suppose. It's just really great to see how rather than going extreme with the predictions, it's very basic, but the more they stack on, and I think it was really great because there's room for doubt even after seeing everything. When you call your mother up and she says, yeah, bring her home, at that point you have to wonder, is she actually a god? And I like the idea of slowly but surely him like questioning but then going back on it, because naturally you're not a manga protagonist, as he says. He's not going to call up his mom and she's going to say, come on home. So it's great to have that idea that it's going to be this back and forth, and maybe by the time it's too late, the world's about to end. And I'm really excited to see why the world will end. Is it going to be something with pollution? Is it going to be a war? Is it going to be like, there's a lot of room for, honestly, an apocalypse style story. And the fact that they made the visual presentation so bright and vibrant, it is gorgeous with its background imagery, which is no shot for PA Works. But the character designs are pretty much, they honestly remind me of Charlotte, which I really enjoyed the character designs from that show. And it's just great to see how the color palette with like the light beams kind of like coming in, it looks very realistic more often than not. And when they go absolutely ridiculous with the character designs, especially with our girl, just going complete anime ridiculousness, I loved it. It was hilarious. And the voice actors just really sold their performances. I thought, honestly, the whole idea of a little girl proclaiming herself to be a god, the voice acting was going to be good for that, and it was adorable, it was infuriating, it was everything it needed to be for what they were trying to do. But Yota, I have to give a major props to. This man, I thought I knew what to expect, because generally with anime, when you see a character design, you know what they're going to sound like, and you know how they're going to act. My initial thoughts was he was going to kind of be like a shut-in sort of nobody, not to the point that he was an otaku, but rather didn't have a lot of confidence. But he kind of struck that balance of being an average guy who liked a girl who clearly isn't interested in him. He has friends, he's not afraid to talk with people, he just had this very calm and very engaging persona, and I really enjoyed how he interacted with this girl, because it'd be very easy for him to be like overly anime about it and just being like, oh my god, you're a god, or just being very, just kind of hostile. He felt like a big brother trying to get this girl home, because who wouldn't believe she was kind of full of shit and just being a child? But it's really going to be fun to see their dynamic, especially considering that they're going to be living together, and I feel like he's going to be very confused, and that's going to be a very fun concept. This was one of my most anticipated anime walking in, and so far I'd say it's in my top 5 for first episodes. I really enjoy it. Is there potential for this to slip in pacing? Absolutely. Am I optimistic for it? 100%. I think this is going to be a great ride, and I think the idea of a 30-day time limit is going to lend itself to hopefully have better pacing, because it's not like they're going over a year's time, so hopefully it's not going to feel like towards the end that they're rushing through a core's worth of story, when really we only have 2 episodes left to go. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did you enjoy it as much as myself, and what was your favorite point of the episode? If you enjoyed the video, of course, if you'd like to share your support, hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.